everybody, and welcome to the Tavern. How's everybody doing this evening?
Cheers, y'all.
Did we all choose to wear black today?
I wore pink, and I have a pink koozie.
I do too.
So does Greg. Dave has some pink koozies, too.
Yep, he does. Embrace the pink.
Embrace the pink.
I should put my sash and my crown on, too.
I forgot about that.
So it's sitting right here.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't. What is up?
We got a lot to talk about tonight.
What is up, Hayden? How are you, buddy?
Hey, don't we need to give a shout out before we get started here?
We do. I'm waiting to see if somebody comments because I want to make sure somebody's watching before we give that shout out. Because I do have a shout out to give tonight to one of our viewers, longtime viewer, first time caller, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Hey, so one of our viewers, Heidi Schubert, my favorite member of the Schubert household, Heidi. It is her birthday today, and while we are not going to sing because no one needs to hear that from us, Heidi,
and it's copyrighted.
It probably is copyright.
No, it is.
Just want to wish you a happy birthday. Hope you are having an awesome day today, and hope Brad spoiled the hell out of you for your birthday because you definitely deserve it. So I'm just going to say that.
And if you didn't, go buy yourself something nice and say it's from Brad, like my wife does.
I'm sure my wife could send you a list, or Dave's wife, or Greg's wife. We could all send lists of things that your husband should buy you. So I'm sure the wives could get together and come up with a good list on that. So sorry, Brad. So nothing's going on this week in golf, is it?
No, nothing at all. I think we should
Tiger played.
Yeah, let's talk about Tiger playing.
Brad, can she rank us in order of favorites? I want to make sure Steve's number 3 on that list.
Wow. So Tiger came back this week. Yeah. Finished 18th in a field of 20.
Tiger did what I hoped Tiger would have done, and Tiger went after this tournament the way I hoped he would. It was beat
Will Zalatoris.
I'm pretty sure Dave could have beat Will Zalatoris this week.
I mean, true. Listen, I'll say this. I'm glad Will's back. It's nice to see him back.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't hurt himself again because back injuries are no fun.
No, but Tiger coming back said, "Hey, I haven't played in a while. I'm shaking off the rust." And what we saw was I actually saw pretty good golf out of Tiger. Like, even though he wasn't in the top there, I saw what I wanted to see that could lead to better golf down the road. I gave him a B. I gave him a B rating. Like, I feel like. But what would have been an A? That's what I'm saying. I think a B was great for your first.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying the B is bad.
Is that on the food service cleanliness scale for restaurants, or just your overall opinion?
I mean, here's the thing: like, Tiger comes back at a golf course that he knows pretty well. Albany's owned by Tavistock Group, which owns Nona and Isleworth. He's played it enough. What we didn't have Patrick Reed building sandcastles with a wedge in the bunker this time at Albany, because that was where that happened.
That is where that happened.
But I think when you look at how he played, there were some ups and some downs. There were some things that you saw from Tiger that you typically don't see from Tiger. But I feel like overall, like, would I give it an A if he got a top 5? Yeah, probably. Finishing 18th in the field, finishing at even par or 1 under, right around par. I was like, okay, good. And like, he didn't shoot 18 over par. He it was fun to watch. He was very entertaining.
Here's the good thing about Tiger is he finished. He didn't get carted off the course. He didn't withdraw.
Correct.
Going into Sunday.
Correct.
He finished. And I think for Tiger coming into it, I think that was goal number 1A. Yes, Tiger always wants to play well, finish near the top, but I think goal 1A for Tiger was to finish 4 rounds of golf.
His mindset in this was that to get in, finish, play well, which he did. He started rough. The first round was rough, but that, like you said, shaking off the rust. I think the father-son is going to be the next test for him.
Again, the father-son, he gets
to carry him there,
and he gets to ride in a cart.
Yep,
the father-son, that's the parent-child. He gets to kind of laugh it up. It's really the ultimate of hit and giggles. I mean, you're out there with your kids, and I mean, they'll play the first round, I'm sure, with Mike and Justin. So you know, it'll be buddies playing golf. Mike Thomas is teaching Charlie how to play golf. It's not Tiger giving him lessons, it's Mike. So you've got this ability to go out, have some fun, relax. It's at the Ritz in Orlando. Have you guys played the Ritz?
I have many times.
Yeah,
Dave.
Yep.
I mean, it's a golf
Didn't
course.
Matt used to caddy there.
Matt did use to caddy there. Yeah. You can hit driver almost everywhere out there and not get in trouble. So go out and have fun, hit driver, and just bomb it and see what happens. So it'll be a good time.
It's a good next step for him. I will say this week, my favorite thing that I'm giving an A+ to this week that came back, that we haven't seen in a while, that we definitely didn't see at the Ryder Cup, Scotty's putter.
Well, I've got some notes on that. Scotty changed putters to an Olsen manufacturing putter from Logan Olsen off the West Coast. And I thought it was an interesting move. He's more of the bespoke putter company. And Logan makes a great putter. Does a lot of work to make really interesting putters. If you ever follow him, if you're not following him on social media, you should. It's Olsen Manufacturing on social media. But I saw something tonight and may have sent a couple text messages to find out some more, because Nelly Korda is also carrying an Olsen Manufacturing putter this week. And there are some rumors floating around that Olsen and TaylorMade have gone in to kind of be the Scotty Cameron of TaylorMade. And
okay.
The rumors that have floated, and I will say them as rumors, so you do not have to take them as fact, or this is what I've heard through multiple people, is that it came down to Logan Olsen and another guy that you may have heard of in Tyson Lamb, and TaylorMade decided to go with Logan Olsen. So
I feel a lot of these companies, because of Titleist and Scotty Cameron, and now you also had Toulon and Odyssey with Callaway.
Toulon, Sean Toulon went to Odyssey, went to Callaway.
You're getting these. They want this high-end putter brand with their regular putter brand now. So I think you're going to see this with the big companies having.
I'm intrigued to see. I'm surprised that it wasn't Tyson Lamb, because that dude has such a cult following, and we're talking about putters that cost ungodly. I mean, Tyson Lamb putters have costed $4,500 for years. Like, they're stupidly overpriced.
But hey, let's throw this back to, last week, with our guest from last week with Teardrop, and who did he bring on as his putter guy for the whole company?
Exactly.
So,
correct.
You can find, it again, and shameless plug here, just because it's a $200 bottle of wine doesn't make it a great bottle of wine.
Airport Road Wine Vineyards, people.
It's just the same.
It's under $200 a bottle.
Wow. It's the same thing with putters. Just because it's a $200 putter doesn't mean, I'm going to go out and buy the new driver every single year. Doesn't mean
Dave,
I'm going to hit it into the woods.
Say this. $200 is cheap for a putter these days, actually.
That's actually true.
Putters have gone the way of, stupid dollar amounts for putters now.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the Bahamas here.
It's the guy behind the club.
Yeah, it is. And the guys behind the club this week in the Bahamas put on a good show, let's be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was up and down. It was, you thought
Lucas Glover making an ace.
Oh, that was fun to watch.
I bet even for 20 guys that bar tab was expensive.
Well, the best part is I was watching my father-in-law, and he asked a great question because there was a motorcycle in the background, one of the hero motorcycles.
Yep.
And he's like, "Did he just win that?" And I'm like, "He should have just won that for an ace."
Probably.
Yeah.
He didn't put the $10 into the pot for it though.
He didn't have the member hole-in-one contest.
He wasn't in the member hole-in-one contest.
But it was a great event. So I mean, it was fun to watch. And that's what it is. I've been to this event before.
Not at all.
When it was at Isleworth, and it's a lot more casual. It's a lot less of crowds, and you saw that here. I mean, not a lot of people are flying to the Bahamas for this event, as much as we'd like to. But
sounds like a good time. Let's go.
It does. But it's a fun event, and it's just you're putting the top players on the PGA Tour, 20 out there. Well, let's say really top 18 out there. And then Tiger and Will. But it was a fun event to watch. It was the top kept trying to catch Scotty, and he just held on. And he played well.
Yeah. I wouldn't say winning.
He finally made putts from inside 5 feet.
I wouldn't say winning by 3 is holding on though. Like I feel like you win by 3.
But he also never lost the lead. No one ever caught him. Like when it got to a point, he was holding on.
He just got out and just said, "I'm just going to go make some more birdies and just keep it out here."
Unlike my shout out to the Indiana Pacers last night for beating the Boston Celtics and making it to the semifinals of the in-season tournament. That was an awesome game last night.
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't followed the in-season tournament at all because it's early on in the NBA season and I could care less.
And because Orlando's not in it.
Well, that was my question. Did Orlando? Did Orlando make it? No,
they would have had the spot the Celtics had, but the Celtics had the tiebreaker in that.
Damn it!
Yeah.
So
based on running up the score and points.
Yeah, that's what they were trying to do. That's what they were trying to make with this thing. Is they wanted it to be points, and you have the highest scoring team in the NBA with the Pacers. So.
Yeah, they wanted the All-Star game.
Hey, birthday girl! Thanks for joining us.
Yay! All right, let's get into next week.
Next week, Grant Thornton.
We got
cool event.
Steve, you and I talked about this. I feel the hype for this all at the beginning of the PGA Tour season was like, this event's coming. And I thought it was going to be in the middle of the season. And then I was like, when the heck is this happening? Because I stopped hearing about it for like the last 3 months.
Right.
Like, and that's sad because I'm excited for this. I love the LPGA PGA crossover event. I think this is awesome. I think this is a fun event. Dave, do we have some odds?
I'm getting there.
All right.
I'm going to guess that Ludwig Aberg is at the top of the odds list at this point. And
you don't like the Cortafino team? Or the Code? I like the name. Code,
yeah.
Thagala Zhang?
McGuire Glover?
That's what I was going to say next. I kind of like that too.
So your odds going in here, the Cortafino team coming in at number 1 at 6-1.
I called it.
Of course they are.
Corda. Aberg and Sandstrom at 6.5, and Henderson and Connors at 10-1.
The Canadian team. Where is Lexi and Ricky?
Oh, Canada.
They're next at 11-1.
Okay, sounds about right.
And then Kang McCarthy also at 11-1, and Hull and Rose at 11-1. Zhang Thagala at 12. And rounding out that field is Lee and Billy Herschel at 28-1.
Billy Hull. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch the team play the competition. Just because I think it'll be a good time. And I think the interaction between the PGA Tour players and the LPGA Tour players will be a good time also. I wish, and I'm going to say this, I wish there were more players in the field.
I do too. I was like, this is a very small field for this.
Right.
I wish it was a bigger event, but to be honest, let's.
And I like the fact that and I hope that TV does a better job covering the LPGA players on the men's coverage.
Yeah.
You know, it's the LPGA tour doesn't get a lot of coverage to begin with. I honestly think their TV coverage is terrible. Even on the Golf Channel, I would criticize the Golf Channel for their coverage of LPGA events because I feel like they're treated like a. I agree. At least they're covering it, but I feel like it's like a third-class citizen coverage.
I feel they only get like even their majors that don't get the greatest coverage.
They're not getting
the Tournament of Champions at Nona. The reason they do split tees in morning tee times only is because the TV coverage slot that they get, especially early on, is awful. So they have to get the coverage out there for the ladies.
Well, and I feel also a lot of that coverage you're not watching. I don't watch the LPGA live a lot because I catch it more when it's on like a replay. Like I feel it's not because it is competing sometimes with other things that are live.
And it's always on at a awful time.
Yeah.
Like it's awful.
And I love going to LPGA events because they're fun. They are fun to watch. It's just like watching the men play. That's the one thing that this sport is just like watching the men play.
Correct.
So,
in fact, I actually think if you watch them hit some golf shots, they hit some really cool golf shots that they have to be creative with. I saw Arya Jatanagarn on the 9th hole at Lake Nona hit one from underneath the trees that never got 20 feet off the ground and rolled up. There was a par 5, and she was just short and 2 coming out of the trees. And literally, I literally said to her on the putting green, I was like, that was one of the coolest golf shots I've ever seen anybody hit. Like, it was
filthy.
It was like, I was just like, okay, cool. Good talk. Glad we watched that. Wow.
And that's the fun thing is that it's not like, and unfortunately, the WNBA and the NBA get a bad rap because like women's college basketball and men's college basketball are both just as exciting, but I feel sometimes the WNBA doesn't get that same excitement that I wish it would because it is exciting. The same thing with the LPGA.
Here's the thing with
when Caitlin Clark plays in Indiana next year.
Here's the thing, though. There's a difference in atmosphere in the arena from
100%
the college game to the NBA game. And
that's the difference.
And the WNBA game. And that's the biggest difference is there are people watching you play in college. People aren't buying tickets to WNBA games.
The WNBA needs to grow its fan base. And I think they need to start with like younger kids that are watching, and this can be their idols. And I hope they get there someday. But with this event, with the LPGA, PGA, it's a great way to bring people in, hopefully bring people to the PGA. And I think you're right, Steve. I'm hoping that the coverage covers it equally. It doesn't just focus on the men's.
Yes.
That it focuses on everyone playing like it's a normal field, not like it's.
Correct. Hey, let's put the Cameron Crazies in a WNBA game and let's see how that breaks down.
Here's the problem: the WNBA plays in arenas that are NBA arenas. Cameron Indoor seats like 10,000. Like there's like nobody. You can't put anybody in there. That's
true.
So
Cameron is small.
Yeah. Cameron's it's one of the smallest basketball court facilities in NCAA. So
you're right on top of each other there.
With that, that's our segue into let's talk NCAA.
Do we have to?
Yeah.
Yes. Because we have a platform here, and everyone else is talking this, and and it's not really the NCAA. The NCAA actually really has nothing to do with this.
I think they had everything to do with it.
No, they don't. It's the college.
I'll give you my conspiracy theory, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'll give you my conspiracy theory on it.
No, because here's the thing: if the NCAA had anything to do with this, they just let it happen. That's like they let everything else happen. But how do you leave an undefeated team out? Because here's what I'm going to ask this question: would you have, if I told you that a 2-loss team would get in before a undefeated team didn't get in? Which do you think would have happened first? We know which did.
Yeah, 2-loss team.
Yeah.
I would have thought a 2-loss team would have gotten in before an undefeated team didn't make it.
Here's the problem. It's a power 5 with 4 slots available.
It's a power 4 because they just said the ACC is not a power 5 conference with this.
No, they're not. They're not. But
here's the thing: they went 6-4 against the SEC. Every time the Pac-12 shows up in this thing, they get their butts handed to them. Every time, like you can go back in history and look at every time the Pac-12 has gotten there, they've gotten embarrassed on that stage.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to sit there and say, and yes, I'm going to be honest. I'm biased. I'm a Florida State fan. I grew up a Florida State fan. I like some guy named Dion who coaches at Colorado when he was there. But the NCAA,
I still think the best comment was if Dion was coaching at Florida State, this wouldn't happen.
Well, it's true. It's true.
And then somebody's reply would be they wouldn't be undefeated.
Well, that's true too. The NCAA, and I'm gonna say this because the selection committee, the United States Golf Association, and weathermen are all about as successful at doing their jobs as each other, and I can't decide who does their job worse.
Well, here's the thing. We're making this about like an eye test, and everyone's like, oh, they look better. They are better. You know what? Alabama lost 1 game. Texas lost 1 game, but Texas beat Alabama.
Lost to Auburn.
What?
They took a miracle to beat Auburn. Alabama did.
They did, but that's a game. That's like the Yankees and the Red Sox. It doesn't matter what place you're in. That's going to be
it took a blown call by an official and a dropped 4th.
Yeah, but that's going to be a close game, even if Auburn, if Auburn is 0-10 at that point, they could still beat Alabama. That's 10-0 at that point. So
interesting comment, Brad.
But a win is a win, and to go undefeated in college football, especially in a Power 5 conference, that's something. And
because you still had Clemson in there, who has won national championships in the ACC.
Yeah, but you still have teams that are in there. But the fact that you're saying that because the quarterback is injured is a reason you're not letting them in, even though they still went 3-0 while he was injured.
State in.
With a 3rd-string quarterback, and they won the whole thing. So your argument is dumb.
Well, and if Alabama, and again, I'm just going to say this, the SEC is moving to ESPN next year. This is the last year of the bowl selection committee. If you don't put Alabama in, you don't have an SEC team in on ESPN.
It's not about being on ESPN. It's just about being on the national stage. They just want
you have Texas, which is basically an SEC team.
Well, it's SEC light. They'll be SEC next year. But
here's the
other problem
every team in is either Big Ten or SEC right now next year.
Mm-hmm.
Every team in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you look at if Alabama or Ohio State were in FSU's shoes, and they were down, if Alabama was down to the 3rd-string quarterback, would Florida State have gotten left out again? The answer is yes, because just ask Paul Feinbaum.
Well, and here's the other thing that I asked. So let's say Georgia beat Alabama, okay? And you now have 4 undefeated teams.
Texas
you still leaving?
Texas is out. Texas is out.
That's what I'm saying. So you're going to put FSU in at that point.
Yeah.
So
Texas
why not now? Yeah. Why just because Alabama beat
Texas
them?
and Alabama both jumped 4 spots to get in.
Exactly. They jumped. Texas, I think, deserves it based on what happened and the fact that they beat Alabama. They are Alabama's 1
Texas
loss.
should have been the 4.
Yes.
If Georgia wins that game, Texas is the 4, Florida State's the 3, Georgia's the 1, Michigan's the 2.
No, Washington's still in there.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Then Texas is the odd man out.
Texas is the odd man
Texas
out.
is out.
But here's the problem. Now you have Texas playing, then you have Texas playing Alabama in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah. This is, and to be honest, the same reasons they are saying Alabama should be in were the same reasons they were saying a 2-loss Penn State Big Ten champion should not be in, and they let Ohio State, a 1-loss team that Penn State beat, in. So you have just said to the country that it doesn't matter what you do.
Correct.
If you are one of these teams that we like, we're putting you in. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I'm done talking about this topic because it gives me heartburn when I think about it, and this next topic is going to give me even more heartburn to talk about with all of the notes that I have here. So let's
let's go to the next
Want to be
segment.
here, right? Okay. Chaos.
Unhappy hour.
One more time.
No, this is all we get there. Unhappy hour.
Well, that's why I had to add the extra
This is like when they're doing. This is like when you're at Chili's and they're doing buy one get one drinks at Chili's, and they run out of your beer, and you're like, yeah, definitely just lost happy hour on that one.
You know, I can't have happy hour in Indiana.
What?
You can't have a sale that is only for a certain amount of time. It has to be all day in the state of Indiana.
Well, then Chili's can still do 2 for 1. Okay, cool.
Yeah, they can do 2 for 1, but it's all day 2 for 1. It's not.
Well, yeah, which is just like what Chili's does. Okay.
So basically, you have to have a drink of the day instead of a happy hour for the week, which kind of is.
It's like mini bottles when we lived in Hilton Head.
That's the funny. I still love that.
All right.
If anyone knows what a Jaeger bomb is 4 ways, then you've been to Hilton Head Island.
Yes.
Can we
one Jaeger bomb 4 ways?
Can any of you answer this question? Why?
The square root of pi.
That's probably the closest answer to why.
That probably is.
No. That's the one question I want the USGA and the RNA to ask is, why are you making this decision?
Because when they were given the feedback during the period of open discussion, as they called it, or whatever the hell they called it, they said, we can't sit and not do anything. We have to do something.
Which is fine. You can do something, but that something doesn't mean take us back 30 years.
No.
Here's something that
here's my biggest concern about this with golf right now. Coming off of COVID, golf is at an all-time high. It's almost like the Tiger. COVID had the same effect that Tiger did when Tiger came into the game. You have participation way up because it was something you could do during COVID. You could get outside. You didn't have to worry about masks. You could get out and ride in a golf cart. You could walk. You could play golf. They put stupid pool noodles in. We can all agree that was the dumbest thing ever done.
No, that was the greatest thing ever done.
Let me just hit it at the flag.
As hard as I could at the flag, it was. Oh, it popped out. That counts.
It's good.
All of a sudden,
here's a quote.
Innovative for what we didn't know.
So
it was dumb.
But here's a quote that I saw. Okay, go ahead, Dave. Because
this because we've talked about a lot of people. This is from Dottie Pepper. This was in Golf Digest, golf.com, and I don't exactly agree with this. It's like we're losing our historically important venues. I believe the artistry of the game has been lost because we've chased distance. The manufacturers were given too much free rein for too long.
No, they weren't.
Well, they were. I do think we have that
There was parameters that said a golf ball can only go this far when hit this hard. There are parameters in place. If it went longer, if it was a nitro, if it went longer, it was deemed non-conforming. So there were already parameters in place at swing speeds. Do I think that the USGA didn't understand the athlete that they were dealing with golf? Because Tiger changed the golfer. We no longer saw John Daly. We no longer saw Craig Stadler playing golf. We saw athletes. You have guys in Dustin Johnson, Gary Woodland that can dunk. I don't know that there was anybody back in the late 80s and early 90s that could dunk a basketball playing professional golf.
Their stomachs looked more like they were ate a basketball.
That's true.
But
the problem that I have with this is that all they're doing by saying this is what we want to draw the golf ball back is they're putting it into computer simulated models. and they're saying this is what we want to do based on a computer simulated model. You know what the computer simulated model doesn't tell you? What it actually does.
Yeah.
It tells you the average of what it does, but this is not, they're reacting to the 0.0001% of the golf community, the professional golfer. Because if any of us go to any of these historic courses and go play them, we're going to have a great time, and I'm not going to be bombing it down the fairway because I'm not going to be playing the tips. And you're affecting what we have said all along, that, hey, when the pros play and I play, it can be the same thing.
Here's the other thing. Let's make those historical venues more available to us and not just the elite.
Well, here's the problem. And I'm going to go off of this report. I'd like to thank Arcos for sending me this today. I reached out to Arcos, and Arcos sent me their distance report. It came out earlier this year. So this is data through 2022 on amateur golf only. I do have professional data. We will get to that in a minute.
Do you have my numbers in there? Because I use Arcos.
I don't. It didn't single out Greg's number.
Good.
But from a period of 2018 to 2022, the average men's driving distance was right around 225 yards. It went from 224.3 to 226.4. So 225 yards average driving distance over a 5-year span. The women's game averaged 178.5 yards off the tee in that same period of time.
Does it give you the max and the min?
Men's data distance. So it tells me, based on handicap, average driving distance across ages and handicaps.
So the lowest handicaps, like let's say single digit handicaps. What's the average driving distance of single digit handicaps?
What age group?
Let's say 35 to 40.
I got 10 years, so 30 to 39.
30 to 40. Yeah, that works.
So 30 to 40 single digits. We're in the 240 to 275 range.
So a 30-year-old that hits it, what'd you say, 275?
Yeah, and that's a +1 or better handicap.
Yeah. So that's hitting it that far, which is a small percentage of the golfers.
Right.
Isn't hitting it too far.
275.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
actually,
why?
Yeah.
So why are you making this rule? Why are you reacting to these things? And this goes back to the original question that we asked. Why are we reacting to these things where it's because Bryson DeChambeau can hit a ball 400 yards or the long drive people can hit it 450 yards? That's not your average.
I've got 10 pages of notes here.
I know you do.
You don't see tennis saying, hey, the men's game is serving the ball too hard at 135 miles an hour, wherever they're at right now. So we should go back to wooden rackets.
Or we should dial back the tennis ball.
I mean, Penn makes the tennis ball. Here's the one thing in tennis, though. It's a uniform ball.
Here's the one thing in every sport but golf. In every professional sport, it's a uniform ball. Maybe that's the answer for the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Which it won't be. And
there's too much money in sport.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be, but you're rolling back the ball for everyone when it doesn't affect everyone.
Okay, so let's answer this question for me. When you look at dialing back the golf ball, does it keep the game where it is from a difficulty standpoint? Does it make it easier? Does it make it harder?
So I think, here's the thing. I don't think it changes it in the fact, it just changes the ego of the golfer. Because what am I going to do? I'm now going to play a tee up, and I'm going to get that yardage back off the drive.
I talked with, I did some research today and did some homework, and I made a phone call to a friend of ours who's been on the show a couple times, and Bob Winskowitz from Squares.
Mm-hmm.
And Squares is known as the distance shoe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I asked Bob, I said, Bob, I want to ask you this question. You're known as the distance shoe. What's your opinion of this? And he said, at some point, when you look at where do golfers find distance, and it's through the ground. It's where home run hitters come from. They use their pitchers that have been great pitchers, use their legs more than their arms.
Mm-hmm.
We all know this. So at some point, you have to use the ground in order to do this. So why do these guys not skip leg day? Is that's where they generate a lot of their power from. They explode out of it. So Squares being the distance shoe, golfers are going to try to find that distance. They are, one way or another. We're all going to search for it. It's the rabbit hole we all go down when we play this stupid game. So for that,
that's my point.
Like we're going to keep finding it. So we're going to find ways in order to hit the ball further.
This is not going to solve
it's
the problem.
going to be to continue to play a golf ball that will at some point be deemed illegal.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy all the golf balls up in the next 4 to 6 years, and then sell them on the black market for people like, hey, you want to hit the ball 10 yards longer? I got old Titleists for you.
So when I hit my ball into the woods and I come out with an old, look, a Pro V1.
Don't tell anyone because they're gonna mug you for it.
But here's the Dave,
Brad, I probably have some of those in my bag somewhere.
I'd rather hit a rock.
Yeah, I know. But here's the thing. So we talked about that. We talked about this way back when, and Steve, you and I talked about this because I had to look up the word bifurcate, to understand what it meant.
You didn't even pronounce it. It's bifurcate.
Whatever. But here, the article I'm looking at from SI right now is there was just as much uprising about the bifurcation of the elite golfers and the amateur golfers over splitting the ball back then.
No, there wasn't.
Proposed this local rule change.
No, there wasn't. Because I was all for it. I was like, you know what? If they want to dial the professional ball back, again, I have that data.
But you and I talked this, Steve, about doing that. If you have to do a pro ball versus a amateur ball, that's going to come down and change things for you and I. Not much. It's not going to change anything. But for our kids who maybe want to become professionals, are going to have to get used to the pro ball and be playing against their friends who aren't going to become golf professionals that are using the golf ball that goes further. So you can't have two different golf balls. Here's
the problem with what happened. I said this to you guys last week. We talked about this. The USGA, this is all a pissing contest, is all this is. And when the USGA announced this last year, and everyone's like, so what's the tour going to say? What's LIV going to say about this? And the tour came out and told the USGA to stick it and said, you know what? You can dial the golf ball back. We're going to put a local rule in that says the players can use these other golf balls. So now the USGA got mad and said, hey, you know what? You want to do that? Here's our loophole and here's our workaround. We're going to dial the golf ball back for everybody and penalize everybody because the PGA Tour doesn't want to work with us. And the manufacturer said to them, we don't want to make a golf ball for 3 tournaments. Because that's what would have happened. Because the PGA of America wouldn't have gone along with it for the PGA Championship. So now you would have had to make a dialed back golf ball for tour players for 3 events. You would have had to make them for the US Open, the Open Championship, and I'm going to assume that the Masters goes in on that deal too. So the manufacturers were like, well, why are we going to make a golf ball for 3 events? That just sounds stupid.
Here's the question, though. To be completely honest with you, what's going to stop the manufacturer to say, hey, it's a non-conforming golf ball, and the PGA can just go, we're going to use a non-conforming golf ball because we don't have to follow the rule. The USGA makes the rules and the RNA make the rules of golf, which is great to have a governing body. I love having these governing bodies.
Don't give me started on that.
You're doing something here that don't get in a pissing contest. You saw what happened with LIV and a PGA in a pissing contest. It helped no one. Don't get in this pissing contest because I get you don't want the golf ball to go any further. So stop the golf ball where it is now. don't make this a rollback because because the professionals are hitting it too far. And now you're saying that the amateurs are going to have to play the same thing and they're going to have to play less and they're not in this group that you're looking at with this. We're not hitting it too far. Yeah.
You mean imagine if they didn't have a tour van at every freaking golf tournament to give them clubs every week that they don't pay for, that they get for free. And, oh, well, I don't like the way the grooves look on this, so send me another one. They're spoiled prima donna brats is what they are.
What were we talking about? Rory at a tournament, a couple months ago, said his putter was 3/4 of an inch too long. And they had to go.
It was an eighth of an inch.
Yeah, it was an eighth. Like, it was a sliver.
Like, it was stupid. It was like this.
Yeah.
But they don't put, they don't play the same thing, that we do. You like to think the commercials and everything else, you go out and you get the Paradigm driver or the Stealth or, the Titleist. It may look the same. It is not the same.
No,
and we all know
about
that.
This. We talked about this. The pros are getting the basically handmade version that is tweaked and made for them, whereas we're getting we're getting the mass quantity that can be tweaked the same way if we really put in the extra money for it. But to be honest, we're getting the mass quantity, just like not Callaway, but the hazardous driver that has like the they have a version of that driver that's their shaft that is mass produced. But if you get the small batch, that is actually handmade. Like that's the difference between the small batch and the regular one. And that's what the pros are getting. And that's the difference is you're getting something that's there. When Rory came out and said, hey, I'm all for the rollback, or Tiger says I'm all for the rollback, because you know what? It's not going to affect them. It's not.
Yeah.
They're going to hit a little bit less. They're going to find the disadvantage you said somewhere else.
We talked this.
They're all going to have the same rules.
Podrick Harrington had it. Podrick had a great comment on.
Podrick's comments have been dissected by everybody, and Podrick has probably been the one that's been spot on all this.
Here's the thing, most importantly, enjoyment is based off your current expectations. If you expect to be 10 yards short of your playing partner and you hit it 10 yards past them, you're happy no matter if it's 200 or 300 yards. If I hit it 10 yards past either of you guys, I'm ecstatic. Even if it only happens once, I'm going to talk about it for 18 holes.
I was going to say the same thing. I miss hit. Steve topped it, and that's what happened.
I don't care
for once.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm still going to talk about it for the rest of the holes.
So here's the problem.
We talked this
one. No, well, there's I've got like 3 pages worth of. I'm about to go on a tangent. Just FYI. We talked this back at our first ever after party when they had made this announcement, and we did our first after party talking this. Where's the scoring average on the PGA Tour gone with this? Has it diminished? No. In fact, when you look at the last since 2000, which I'll use the 2000 number when we talk data, when we look at factual data from the PGA Tour, because that was when they introduced the Pro V1. So scoring average over the last 23 years on the PGA Tour has been, there's only been 2 years that has been below 68. And I'll give you one guess because it was the same guy that did it. And you don't need one guess because we all know who it is. His name is
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Michael Jordan. Yeah, exactly. Last year, Jon Rahm won the scoring title at 69.03. Okay. Mm-hmm. There's been 5 years during that same time that the scoring average has been over 69.0.
Yeah.
So you tell me that this is impacting because these guys are hitting it so far and they're doing all of these things, that it should be impacting scoring average. That's where it should be impacting, right?
Not going to do that.
It's not doing that. So you're afraid of golf courses becoming obsolete. You're afraid of golf courses not being able to be built. And you're talking about sustainability for golf courses with watering golf courses and watering restrictions and this, that, and the other. I have a hard time. And oh, by the way, the other thing that they haven't addressed at all is yes, these guys hit it a long freaking way on the PGA Tour. Can we? I don't have the data because nobody really has the data for this. Can we look at their carry distance versus how far it's going on the ground on the PGA Tour?
On the rollout?
The rollout? Yeah.
The rollout. Because rollout to me on the PGA Tour, and I've talked to a couple of people that have gone from the Korn Ferry Tour to the PGA Tour, and the comment was, I gained at least 10 more yards going from Korn Ferry to PGA Tour because the fairways are so firm. When do PGA Tour players complain? Just FYI. Listen to when they complain. And why do they complain at the US Open?
Because they make it hard.
Because they grow the rough up and they have really fast and firm greens. PGA Tour nightmare is soft conditions because every one of these guys knows how far they fly it. And if it gets soft out there, they're just flag hunting at everything because there's no penalty because it's literally just fly at that distance and we're good. So why was Disney, when Disney had the event here, why was Disney always a birdie fest? Because Disney didn't listen to the tour and how the tour wanted the golf course set up. So they kept the golf course soft. And so it turned into a birdie
way
fest.
It was all the time. And that's
all the time.
That's my point with this is that the rollback is not going to affect the pros because they're going to hit it. If I hit it 350 now and now I'm going to hit it only 300, I'm just going to play a different club that I'm comfortable playing any club in my bag. And I'm going to get to the same point where I might hit my 7-iron where I used to hit my 8-iron. Okay, but I'm still going to get to the same point. I'm going to hit Gers and Furs, and I'm going to 2-putt or 1-putt, and we're going to move on. So it's not going to affect anything on the tour, except it might not go as far. So that's why any of the tour players, I don't blame Rory, I don't blame Tiger, I don't blame any of them going, this is fine, because you know what? To them, it is fine. It's not going to
because Rory hitting it that far, it doesn't change because Rory's still going to be the longest player out there. That doesn't change. Rory being the longest player doesn't change. He still is going to be the longest player on the PGA Tour.
They're all going to lose the same amount of average distance.
Yeah.
So it's not going to change anything.
So who does it penalize? It penalizes Brian Harman, who wins the Open Championship this year, who wouldn't be able to compete because now you're having it 3 woods into holes where he was hitting 3 irons into.
Yeah.
That's who this is. I mean, the longer hitters have always complained the golf ball. Jack complained that the golf ball needed to be dialed back when he played. Tiger's always said they need to reel the golf ball in. He has always said that. But he has said, and he has come out and said, it needs to be done at professional level now. Rory,
I have to call this out not that one. No, it jumped on me. Hold on. This one. No, it was literally built on a swamp mic, so I just had to call that out.
But here's
Rory
the thing.
Rory complaining about all of us complaining about it sounds like a spoiled elitist brat. And I'm going to say that, and I've defended Rory when he's gone on his tangents regarding LIV, and I've kind of agreed with him on that. My problem is that Rory now sounds like, this needs to have it. You're making a decision, and this is what I don't understand. Keegan Bradley said it. They make decisions and put things in place, and then they react and take things back. So they've put themselves in this problem in the USGA and the R&A. So you've gone down this road, and what has the USGA actually accomplished over recent time? Let's look at that.
Well, Keegan's a perfect example because they took away his putter.
Correct.
And that was an overreaction.
And it was complete overreaction to, a couple guys won a couple majors. Phil Mickelson said it was like cheating. And now you have this, let's go down this road with Keegan, and Keegan's a great example, you're right. But like anchoring band, square grooves. Let's talk about pace of play that they tried to go down, and they tried to go down this whole pace of play kick. And what came out of the pace of play study? That they needed to get rid of greens readings books. Who did that impact?
Bryson.
PGA Tour. Dave, do you own a Dave? I know you own a couple yardage books, but do you own a greens reading book?
A what?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, do you know what a greens reading book is?
It's all up here.
But like, you want to figure out how to fix the game and how to grow the game. You have to stop looking at, Greg, you said at the 0.0001% of all golfers to make the decision for 23.5 million golfers that are out there in this world. You are making decisions for the majority on the minority. And then you have the balls to look around and say, well, why is the pushback? Why is there pushback? Rory, why is it? Well, I don't understand why you're so upset. I'll tell you why you're upset. Because you're putting a decision in place that is being applauded by the hundreds, because it's, when you compare it to the millions, I want somebody to yell the millions like The Rock does when he says it.
It went through my head.
But
okay, so
you are going to sit there and make a decision for everybody else in this game based on what are a couple thousand people realistically saying you need to dial the golf ball back, and that's all that's on your side. That's it. So if you're going to sit there and say we need to dial the golf ball back for everybody,
so here's the thing.
Then we need to. The PGA Tour Radio said it yesterday, and I forgot. I think it was Michael Collins. It was either Michael. I think it was Michael Collins or Jason Sobel that said it. And they said it's really bad when the game of golf is making the government look good.
But that's the thing.
I mean,
but here's the point. Like the USGA and the RNA are about the rules and the history of golf, and they should govern based on everyone, not based on what tour pros are doing. But that's what they react to all the time. Is a tour pro starts winning,
because that's where the data is. And I want to know. It was really easy. I made one call to Arcos today. I got an email address. I sent
it doesn't matter.
And
it doesn't
20
matter
minutes later, I had the amateur data from Arcos. So thank you, Arcos, for that. That was really quick, and I appreciate it.
But it doesn't. Hold on, Steve. Hold on. It doesn't matter where they get the data, because I've been to the USGA house in New Jersey, and I've been to watch Iron Byron hit golf balls there, and they get their own data about hitting stuff and averages and everything like that. But they base their rules based on the professional game. You know who should govern the professional game? The PGA, the DP World Tour, the professional tours. The rules of golf should be the rules of golf. Milton Bradley doesn't come out every year and say, you know what? People are getting too good at Monopoly. We're going to say Boardwalk is now its own entity, and you can only buy one house on Boardwalk. Like,
funny enough, my hometown of Massachusetts is actually where they used to make Monopoly. It's where the game was invented.
That is true. But that's my point, is that you should be making it better for all golfers, not just for professionals. Right. And don't react because someone won an event because they had an anchored putter, because they hit the golf ball too far. Because you know what? Correct. If hitting the golf ball too far was the problem, Bryson would be Tiger Woods.
Right. He'd be the greatest golfer to ever live.
Exactly.
At least of our
and John Daly would have been the Tiger Woods before that.
Right.
Yeah.
And
you know, like I remember going back and watching Daly.
I do too.
Yeah.
But...
And Greg, you probably remember this too. And I know it's a different type of ball, but it's the same concept here. When they did the Big Break Disney, and you remember Tony and Skipper hitting balls inside the stadium.
Oh, yeah, when they did the restricted flight golf balls in the stadium.
The restricted flight balls. And those guys trying to get a tour card were having trouble hitting the ball out of Champion Stadium. The only two people that really did it consistently were Tony and Skipper. Well, yeah, because I think they took the balls down the line. Everybody else tried to hit it out to center field.
But also that comes to the point of what Steve said earlier, is you're going to roll this golf ball back. You know what we're all going to do? We're going to find ways to get that distance back.
Yeah.
Club manufacturers are going to find ways to get that distance back. Squares is going to find ways to teach you how to get that distance back. Like, this isn't solving the problem. You think it's a
solution to a problem that doesn't exist. We've said it before.
It's not even a solution. That's the problem. No. It's not.
You know what is a solution to a problem that doesn't exist, though? You know what is a solution to a problem that doesn't
exist? The Golfing Dad's Tavern.
The Golfing Dad's Tavern.
Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. Just like, subscribe, Instagram, TikTok.
Pound that button.
Hit that like button. That's the thing. But that's where we're at. We're at this thing that they're trying. They think what do they expect to come out of this? They should be making the game better. How is this making the game better?
Okay, so let's talk about PGA Tour and LPGA Tour data. And this came to me today. Thank you to Daniel at FlightScope. He was on Daniel's been on our show before. And
Good guy.
Great guy, great dude. Great partner to have in a 2-man, by the way, because I've done that. And it's we could tear it up. So do you know what the average swing speed on FlightScope data is for a PGA Tour player with a driver?
127.
No, I was going to say 156.
Swing speed, not ball speed.
Oh, swing speed?
Yes.
No, I don't know what the average is on that.
113
Oh, I was
driver?
close.
for driver. 113 swing speed with the driver. Ball speed with the driver is 167. Let's go to page 2 of this data. A 0 to 10 handicap swing
This
speed.
is the boring part of the show.
Swing
Steve just
speed.
reading
No.
data from the transcripts of Mr. Rogers.
Swing speed.
Why do I feel like we're in a meeting that we don't need to be in?
This could have been an
103
email.
miles
This all
an
could have
hour.
been. This all could have been an
sent
email.
in an email, Steve.
So here's the funny part. So the average data from the amateur compared to carry distance for this is optimal ball flight. For optimal ball flight, not just
Stop
tour
looking
average.
at Dave when you say that.
Dave doesn't know what optimal ball flight is.
If a PGA Tour player averages 109 miles an hour optimally, their carry distance
And a train leaves Detroit at
right is 290 yards. Carry distance.
okay.
Do you want to know what the carry distance is for a 0 to 10 handicap?
260.
110.
267. And their spin rate is 200 miles an hour higher. I really have a hard time when we're talking about you're dialing back the golf ball for everyone. That 267 with that new data is going to be 250 yards carry distance. That's what it's going to be.
But
They can say what they want. It's what it's going to be.
It's not going to change the scores. It's not going to change. It's
No.
just you're just going to hit it
No.
less. That's all it is, and that's not a solution.
My biggest problem is you have Michael Wan, who's now the head of the United States Golf Association. Michael Wan, before he was the head of the United States Golf Association, was the commissioner of the LPGA Tour. What does this do to the LPGA Tour? When you talk about a product that we talked about earlier that already doesn't get top billing when it comes to people watching golf, and you can sit there and say you want equal pay and this, that, and the other. I can see what you're saying, but pay and all of that comes from sponsorship dollars, and the sponsorship dollars aren't even there. Now you're going to have them hitting it shorter. It's going to be like, it's an exciting product if you want to watch pure golf, but people don't watch it. They're not drawn to it. They're just
How are you going to grow the game
right
especially for younger female golfers who now aren't going to be able to hit it as far with that, and so they're going to be like, you know what, I don't want to play this game.
Correct.
Like you're hurting the game more than you are helping it, and
Helping
that's a
it.
problem. And that's where we need to reconsider this. I would be happy if the USGA, instead of just trying to dig their feet into the ground, said, you know what, we're going to go back, we're going to look at this, we see where this is coming from, and we're going to say that, hey, maybe we just keep the golf ball where it is now, or maybe we relook at this. But you don't need to, because you've already started this conversation, it doesn't mean you need to stand your ground. You don't with this.
No.
And to be honest with the pro game, you know what? I would like to see them have to decide on a hole. You know what? Driver's too much here. I'm going to hit 3-wood.
Yeah.
Brad, I'm going to say this. If you look at proximity to hole based on wedge to 7 or 8 iron, it's a huge difference, especially on the PGA Tour. And at the amateur game, it's even worse.
Yeah.
Proximity to hole, which that's how you make birdies.
Yeah.
Does this mean we get an extra dot for a Dalai Lama now?
Yes. Dot game. This is Steve and I talked about this earlier. We talked about this when we were talking about like spin is a huge thing to what you and I with our swings are trying to get rid of. We're trying to get rid of spin off the driver. I want it on my wedges, but I don't want it on my driver. I want it on my irons.
There's a reason I play the hardest golf ball on the planet, the Bridgestone E9 golf ball. That isn't a plug
rock, and it doesn't move when it goes through the air.
It doesn't spin, and if you watch me hit it, I one hop and stop that thing. Yeah. Perfect. Thanks. Have a nice day.
So this is
I'm too busy. I'm usually too busy trying to find my ball to watch you hit yours.
You'd just be better off to put a tombstone where your golf ball is, and just be done with it.
With everybody needs a Dave.
Well, it is true. Everyone needs the Dave.
Everyone needs the Dave.
All right. I think it's time for our next segment.
The greatest moment.
I'm trying to decide which one.
Well, smack my mama.
All right. We've all been there and done this, so we're just going to show it.
Oh! You know, like once your heels go out from under you, it never feels good.
You're gone.
He gone.
Like,
yeah.
Ouch.
Here's the funny part about that. If you know the wind's going to be that bad, you shouldn't wear a hat. Do your hair, throw some gel in it. You'll be good. Just leave it at that. Yes, Dave?
Who's wearing gel in their hair on a golf course?
Thank you. You're really just doing your hair. You want to look good out there, Steve? You got to get
Steve, you have enough hair left up there to do gel in it.
I do. It's getting a little shaggy in the back, too. It's getting back to that little bush in the back.
Throw some gel in it. That's the smash right there. That Steve uses hair gel when it's too windy. Steve,
we will replay that quote forever.
Steve, you don't use hair gel. Your flowing locks can tell you which way the wind's blowing.
It's true. It's getting that long. I'll find out tomorrow. I'll let you know tomorrow. I'm playing Panther Lake at Orange County tomorrow.
Nice. It's called comb over, Steve.
Yeah. We want to start with.
I need to go. Hold on. I need to go back to something because I want to address this in a comment that was earlier, by Brad. So if Penn State was 10-1, it doesn't matter if Paterno's leading or not. If Penn State was 10-1, if they didn't win their conference championship, then no, Florida State should be in. And I hate to say that, but even so, undefeated Florida State. I would argue, yes, that Penn State needs to be in, but that's biased. But to be honest, no, the undefeated team deserves it more than a one-loss team in every scenario.
Keep figuring out how to win, whether it's offensively or defensively.
Yeah,
exactly.
Florida State's got one of the best defenses in the country right now.
Correct.
We have one loss.
I feel like it's back in the Derek Brooks days when he was there.
Yeah, their defense is Penn State is the best defense in the country, let's be honest. And that's biased, but they still are. Iowa's defense is nasty, but could do nothing against Michigan.
Iowa defense scored more points probably than the offense.
Does the Iowa defense have more points or less than Caitlin Clark right now?
Less. Nobody has more points than Caitlin Clark.
Hey, Orlando golfer, I just want to address this. So they haven't discussed from the manufacturer standpoint if it's going to be a spin move or a compression issue. But here's the other thing. These guys are also good at designing golf balls that they're going to find a way to make it happen. That's what they're going to do. It's what they've always done. Like, it is what it is.
And what are they going to do when the clubs like right now the clubs are only hitting your ball, let's say 250. When they start hitting 260, and are they going to say, oh, we got to roll the golf ball back more, or are they going to say the clubs? But all right, let's go into last call.
All right. So do we want to talk Nike or do we want to talk LIV Golf?
Let's talk Nike first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Tiger's contract is up at the end of this month.
Nike is out of the golf industry.
Well, there's that.
They just won out. It's not a thing. They just won out of golf. They're not making clubs. They sold their copyrights to Ping on the club manufacturing, right. And they got rid of all their reps, and they've moved their rep business for golf to the Cleveland Strixon team is handling their rep business, and then you have this. And let's be honest, of the Nike brand, Nike came out and said when they got rid of equipment, they're like, oh, we're going to be leaders in engineering and designing clothing. Were they really? No, let's be honest. What is Nike? They're not clothing. They're a
marketing company.
They're shoes.
They're
basketball shoes.
No, they're a running shoe. They're a running shoe.
They're a running shoe, but they're a basketball shoe with the Jordan brand. They do make good golf shoes. I do think they make great golf shoes, and I think they should continue to make golf shoes. But you're not a golf manufacturing company. You make shoes. Make shoes. Like, I like your clothes too. I like your polos. I like your golf stuff. But you don't need to be all in on the golf industry anymore.
There's nothing different. There's nothing different about their polo shirt if you compare it to Adidas.
Yes, there is. They took the collar off.
Those are Adidas did that too, though. Adidas also did that.
I'm not the biggest fan of Nike. The only Nike things that I own are because Major League Baseball slapped the Nike logo on some stuff, and that's the only reason I have Philly stuff with a Nike logo on it.
I have a Nike Gore-Tex jacket that I've had since before I moved to Orlando, if that tells you how long I've owned it.
Because Gore-Tex is ridiculous.
Right. And I got it at the Nike outlet in St. Augustine for like $90.
Like, but that's
which in today's money is $250.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
But Nike does make great stuff. And I love Nike, but you know what? I think they just want out of the golf industry. I don't think they don't want to compete with the other brands in there. They can still make golf clothing, but they're not going to be the ones that are out there like pumping golf.
They don't need to be. And Tiger was,
damn it, Heidi, that's what we got you for your birthday. Was a gift card to Nike.
Take it back, Brad. Does Nike need to be paying Tiger the amount of money that Tiger needs to rep that company? No.
So here's the question that I'm going to ask. So then what does Nike do with Rory? Let's ask this question first, because there's another question that's going to get asked here shortly. But when you look at Rory, Brooks, Tommy Fleetwood,
Finau,
or Tony Finau, what does Nike do with them? Bubba's on Nike staff now?
But no, Bubba always does all Nike shoes and the Jordans he wears them out there. Keegan Bradley, they're all
Yeah.
You know what? If I'm them, what I do is I try to push Nike golf shoes on them, and that's it.
I think they still have a partnership.
Kim wears Nike golf shoes.
Here's a small
I think they still have a partnership with those guys. It's a smaller contract for these things, but the amount of money that Tiger needs or deserves or wants, or LeBron James type money, isn't worth it for Nike just to have the Tiger name on something.
Well, I think
is LeBron worth it? Because I feel like Tiger's name is more valuable than LeBron.
No, not when it comes to Nike. Not when it comes to Nike. Let's be honest. Steph Curry would.
I'd rather have Jays than I would.
Yeah, no, you would. I get that, but the younger generation, they're looking at LeBron, they're looking at Steph, they're not looking at Jordans, but Jordans are the shoe. That's
because their parents didn't explain to them that Jordan's the GOAT.
But here's the thing: Jordans are that iconic brand that have actually surpassed Nike. To be honest, it's owned by Nike, but it's become a better brand in itself. And That's why. But golf, they're not selling it. None of us here, we've all said this. None of us here are like, oh, I need Nike. I need to wear this. I need to for golf. I like Nike jerseys for sports. I like Nike's athletic wear for other things. But for golf, they're just not focused on it. And I think it's a smart move to just be like, you know what? Let's focus somewhere else.
All right. So if you're Tiger, you're a free agent for the first time in 27 years. Where do you go?
Greg Norman brand.
I'm sorry.
You didn't see that coming, did you? Come on.
I didn't.
That was awesome.
I didn't.
I think he goes to Under Armour with Steph Curry.
No. I think it's the last place he goes.
Well, I don't think it's the last place he goes because I think that's.
I think Grayson is up there. Rollback's an interesting brand. I don't know that Rollback has the money for him. I mean, Grayson has.
Have you seen how much a Rollback hoodie is?
I agree with you, but I think there's also a reason why
sell
Rollback,
one and pay Tiger.
Why Rollback doesn't have a PGA Tour sponsor yet. I think Grayson would be the leading candidate. I found it interesting. The other thing I find interesting with Tiger is he's worn FootJoy shoes for a year and a half. And was that a cheap shot at Nike for what's going on, or was that because he couldn't they couldn't get him a golf shoe for his foot?
It was they couldn't get him a golf shoe for foot. He actually explained that. He actually explained that in a thing that.
Yeah, Tiger's really good at not telling us the truth, though.
No, but that's I also think
he's always been good at not telling us the truth.
But when it's your foot, but he's also been with every brand, even with Nike. He says his deal with Nike actually said when it was even with the clubs was if I find something that I like better, I can use it.
Right.
He didn't have to exclusively use their stuff. He had to like it to use it. So if he didn't like their shoe, he went to something else. So I believe that he moved on because that shoe fit better.
There's also, Greg, you and I talked this earlier. Brad, what's funny is when Tiger switched to the FootJoys, I called Bob that day and actually had a conversation with him and said, did you send him shoes? Because what he's talking about and what he needs are what you provide literally with your shoe.
He should just send him a pair.
Yes.
Yeah. Red and black.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Black shoe with some red. Oh, come on. Bob, I'm going to help you design this.
So, no, I think that when you look at where he's going, the other thing is that if Tiger's only playing once a month, which is what he said he's going to play.
Does Tiger need a sponsor?
No.
Monster
Energy drink.
Yeah, Monster Energy. Yeah. So people will pay for it. So yes, again, Dave, I'm going to say this as nicely as I can and not try to sound like a shameless plug. If somebody wanted to sponsor us and you're Tiger Woods and somebody wants to pay you money, you're going to take it.
Yeah.
I hate to sound stupid about it, but that's really what it comes down to at this point. He's a professional athlete. He wears product to promote.
But he's going to wear the product he's going to wear the product he wants to wear. And if what he wants to wear, he wears. It may not be Reebok's going to give him $600 million, but if Tiger doesn't like it, Tiger's not going to wear it.
Nope, I got it. You know what he's going to do? Big baller brand.
With it, and then he's going to get a JD head cover.
And we're loudmouth.
I think Tiger would punch Senior Ball in the face real quick.
Never lost.
Never lost. Yeah. I think he'd probably say he could beat Tiger Woods in golf too.
He probably would.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So next topic and last call really quickly. So it's come out today, a little more information on the Jon Rahm deal for LIV. It is not $600 million. It is $300 million and a 25% equity stake in his team.
I think we give him $4 million and he becomes the fourth golfing dad.
He does have 2 kids.
And we give him 100% equity in the golfing dads.
Is it $4 million or $4?
The
Trying
contract
to
might be,
understand.
The contract might be written weirred, but
Hey, Greg.
It's
Hey,
translated.
John, it's a post-dated check for 3023. Just hold on to it.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, something happened in sports news that just popped up on my phone that, like, it's shocking that this happens.
Did the Yankees get Ohtani?
No.
Oh,
They
damn.
made a trade with the Red Sox.
What?
What?
It happens. Come on. Wade Boggs has played for both teams.
Yeah, but he signed as a
But he's
free
in the
agent.
hall. He's in the hall as a Devil Ray.
The Yankees acquire outfielder Alex Verdugo for 3 right-handed pitchers.
Okay, I could see that.
What?
Now the Yankees they're out on Bellinger.
The
Yeah.
last thing we need is outfielders.
You need a left-handed hitting outfielder.
We need a pitcher. We need pitching with the Yankees. And
You
we're
have the
giving
Cy
away
Young Award
pitching.
winner.
Yeah, that's one pitcher. He
Hey,
can't
Heidi's
pitch
calling
every
you out
day.
there.
Sorry, it popped up on my phone. And Heidi, I am a diehard Red Sox fan, and Greg is a Yankee fan, and we all know that our teams never make trades, so that had to be talked about.
Yeah.
So Jon Rahm going to LIV. He has not entered into. Let's go back to this. He has not entered into the American Express, where he would be the defending champion.
Yep.
He is currently looking at. Hey, Joe. Otani's going to be a Cub. Greg, you don't have a problem with that.
I'd be happy with Ohtani being a Cub too.
He's gonna be a Dodger. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And Trout's gonna be a Philly if they're smart.
That's true too. If you're the PGA Tour and you have this, so my first question is, and I'm going to ask this question: when they signed the agreement with the PIF, one of the things that came out that they said was that neither side could try and poach players.
When they signed the agreement with the PIF,
Mm-hmm.
So my first question
poaching
is,
season's still open.
Yeah.
no, when they signed the framework agreement to go into discussions, they said we will not be pulling players and trying to poach players. Okay, fine. You're taking Jon Rahm and you're paying him how much? And there are other rumors circulating currently that there are 3 other guys that could be going to LIV. And 2 of them don't surprise us. We've talked about it on this show, and Cantley and Schauffele. And then the last name that I heard today that surprised me is a guy by the name of Tony Finau.
Tony's got kids to feed.
I ain't gonna lie about that. I mean, I would. You are 100% right about that.
So,
Yeah.
So this takes me to what you've been saying all along in the not acting in good faith of negotiations. Is this showing you that this deal is falling apart?
Oh, I think it's again. This deal was supposed to be done. They've got what 26 days to get this deal done. At this point, I think the John Henry deal is more than likely to happen. I would be shocked if the PIF deal got done. That's just my personal thought process. And if I'm the tour, yeah, I mean, and then we're back to where we started from at the beginning of this year, where you have Norman banging his chest and saying all these guys want to come. Mm-hmm. Here's my problem. You kick 3 guys off. You have a qualifying tournament for 3 guys. That's what you've got spots for the 3 guys that you've relegated. Where does Jon Rahm fit in? And
Brand
if you're
new
giving
team.
him you're going to go from 48 to 52 guys?
Sure.
They don't have an organization to begin with. Just throw
Why
things
not?
out there. It doesn't matter. You don't.
It's the magical wheel of back office compensation. Let's throw a dart at it and see what it hits.
You have no structure.
Ding, 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 ding,
Like
ding, ding,
all
ding.
you're trying to do is be loud and be bigger. That's your whole motto. And to be honest, you know what? Netflix did it better.
Yeah.
Netflix.
Here's the thing. You bring in a new team. It's Rahm, Cantley, Schauffele, and Finau. There's your brand new team of 4 players.
That team doesn't lose.
Exactly.
My money,
But-
if I was a betting man like you, Dave, and I was putting money on stuff, that's where my money would go in the team championship. And I don't understand the team championship for LIV, and I'd still put my money.
Because you know what? You just make sure that Cantley is always playing in front of Koepka, and it'll just drive him insane. And then you have.
Here's the thing. So if Jon Rahm does leave, A, how pissed off is Rory? And B, will Rory start stumping for him to still be on the Ryder Cup?
Is the LIV trying to poach players just so the U.S. can have a better Ryder Cup chance?
I mean, I'd like to thank them for that if they are. Because
That's what I'm saying. Like, look at they're taking away
Yeah.
one of the best players on the
Golly.
European side and 2 players on the U.S. that didn't really do much. So I'm gonna miss
Other than
Finau.
not
Let's be
wear-
honest. If Finau does go, I'm gonna miss Finau the same way that I miss Harold Varner. Like that's
the same way I miss Brooks.
the
Yeah.
like there are a few that I miss going to LIV, but I'm gonna miss.
Do
that,
we
bro.
miss?
I'm
I'm going to ask this question. Do we miss Cam Smith's mullet?
No.
It's an awesome mullet.
It is.
Is the word awesome and mullet supposed to be in anyone who doesn't play
Like I feel
hockey?
like he and Morgan Wallen were rivaling.
I live
until
in
Morgan
the
cut his
Midwest. I live in the Midwest. Mullets a dime a dozen now.
Yeah, but
Like,
you should at least play hockey to have a mullet.
But I feel like him and Morgan Wallen, until Morgan cut his mullet, like they were rivaling for mullet envy. Like
Yeah, that's
they
true.
had some mullet envy going on there.
Oh, we had the World Championship at the Indiana State Fair this year, so
Yeah.
That sounds like Indiana for us.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
that's a state
All
fair
right.
player.
So when John signs with LIV this week,
Steve doesn't know about Flo.
I
He
don't
uses
know.
hair gel.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm going to say it right there. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with LIV and where it goes. We still have one open U.S. spot. I do think they're going to end up back here at Orange County National the week before Augusta, partly because I know the deal they signed with Orange County National. And now, granted, they have the money to pay Orange County National for the week. I'm going to be there tomorrow. I'll ask the question. I'll say, hey, what's the deal with LIV? Are they coming?
Yeah.
Like, or no. I just think that we're going to be in a position where when you look at everything that's going on in the world of golf, there's so much over the last 2 years that have gone wrong with golf. To recap our show tonight, there's so much in the last 2 years that have gone wrong with golf because of what LIV has, the disruption that LIV has caused. And now the USGA just, the horse is dead, stop kicking, and they're continuing to kick on top of it.
Well, and
And-
here's why I think Rory and Tiger and all of them that are on the PGA side of this LIV PGA thing are saying the rollback is okay, is because they don't want it to happen where LIV goes, we don't follow any of the other rules now. We play 3 days out of the week. We don't have to follow the rollback rules. We're going to find golf balls that are LIV golf balls and have them manufactured by John Daly.
Here's the problem with that. They're still complaining that they didn't get World Golf ranking points. You want to see the quickest way to not get World Golf ranking points? Go ahead and don't follow the golf ball rollback.
Here's the thing. You know what? At this point, I think at some point they're
it
not
doesn't
going to
matter.
care. Yeah, they're not going to care.
No.
They're going to be their own entity.
You want to come hit whatever golf ball you want. Put on a pair of shorts and come on down. You're the next contestant on LIV Golf.
You know what?
Here's $200 million.
They're not going to worry about legacy. They're not going to worry about the history of the game. They're going to be their own thing. And you know what? If you're going to go over there and play in that, go play in that and take your money. I don't blame you.
Right.
Yep.
So,
All right. With that being said, guys,
Cheers, y'all.
have a good week. At some point over the next couple days, we expect announcements from LIV and the United States Golf Association. Maybe we will hop on to social media. Greg, we might be able to hop on to Instagram, maybe us, and do a quick little breakdown.
Yep.
Or
we might have to do a live.
Dave, I know you might be possibly.
I'll be on a boat.
You might be on a boat this week. So, Greg, if something big really happens, Greg, maybe we hop on here and just talk about it.
Dave, for someone
and
who talks about Iowa a lot, you would sure leave it a lot.
But it's always nice to come back. You got to leave to understand what you're missing. That's why I keep coming back.
By the way,
hey, I don't need to leave.
Hey, Greg. Next Tuesday, I actually have to go and record a podcast outside of this one. So I'm going to be like Dave. I'm almost as cool as Dave now that I'm doing another podcast.
Oh, nice. What podcast are you on?
Are you to put hair gel in, or you don't wear a hat?
He's on the Hair Club for Men podcast.
No, it is called The Walking Debt. It's a mortgage podcast, actually.
Once again, this could have been shared in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, with that being said, don't forget to tip your bartenders, folks.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Like, we talked about growing the game and doing some different things.
Oh, nice.
And I want to bring Craig and Taltech. You guys talk about growing the game.